form and the suffixes of the female reproductive system. We're first going to start off with the prefixes and the ones that you'll be needing for this chapter. We first have hyper, dis, retro, pseudo, and neo. Next, we'll be doing the combining forms. So we first start off with utero, saplingo, perineo, ovario, orforio, nato, metro, meno, masto, mammo, larparo, hystero, gyneco, lacto, galacto, valvo, epiciso, vagino, colpo, cervico, amino, and carciano. And last but not least, we'll be finishing off with rage, regia, raphi, salapinix, plasty, plasm, plagia, pexi, pathy, para, oma, oid, megaly, logist, gravida, genesis, cysis, archy, scope, totia, tome, tomi, version, ia, and ist. Those are the combining forms, suffixes, and the prefixes of the female reproductive system that you'll be using in this chapter. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Tolo Aria and I'll be discussing the terms. So just a quick vocabulary preview, we're looking at fertilization, which is the union of male and female gametes to form a zygote. You can see the breakdown of the enunciation is provided for your help. Second term would be ova, which is the female reproductive cells. Plural would be ovum. And then gamete, as mentioned in fertilization, is a reproductive cell. All right, this slide exemplifies the female reproductive organs and its combining forms, such as ovary enunciated as OO40 and fallopian tube as salpingo. So if we're doing a bilateral excision of both fallopian tubes and ovaries, it would be called a bilateral salpingo oophorectomy. Next would be a cervix. The cervix would be cervico, and then vagina would be colpo or vagino. For example, a colpotomy. Uterus, hysterectomy, another excision of the uterus. Other terms of enunciating the uterus would be metro or metrio or utero. All right, so the next couple slides we're going to be discussing the female reproductive medical words along with their definition, building, and the pronunciation. As you can see next to each medical term, we'll have the breakdown of the pronunciation. The word root itself in the first term we're looking at is amnio, amnion essentially, which is the amniotic sac. So when we're building a word such as, in this case, would be a surgical puncture called amniocentesis, which is a surgical puncture of the amniotic sac. Next would be the cervical itself, which is essentially the neck of the uterus when it comes to the female reproductive system. So when the neck of the uterus is inflamed, it is cervicitis, and you can see how it is broken down in the pronunciation listed next to the combining word. Next would be colpo or vagino, which we already discussed being vagina. And again, so when we're doing a visual examination of the vagina, we know scopy is a visual examination. So in this case, visual examination of the vagina would be a colposcopy. And then any type of swelling of the vagina is seal. So in this case, it would be vaginocele. Next, milk we know is lactating, galacto as well. So rhea meaning discharge or flow. Um, Combining the word would be galactorrhea, or if you're forming or producing, the suffix would be gen. So in this case, lactogen, producing or forming of milk. And then last but not least, gyneco, which we know that the study of a woman or female would be gynecology. So the physician who would be, or the person who is studying the gyneco, the woman or. Okay, I'm just going to brush through these next couple slides because we're running out of time. So, hystero or utero, uterus, hysterectomy, removal of the uterus, we discussed that. Mammogram, masto meaning breast, mammogram, recording of the breast, we know that. And then last but not least, we'll go with prenatal. So natal meaning birth, and then prenatal, which is pertaining to before birth. Okay, this next slide is discussing the just more combining words. Root word 0040 meaning ovary, oophoroma. Tumor is oma, so therefore tumor on the ovary is oophoroma. Perineo meaning perineum would be, so for suturing the perineum would be perineorrhaphy. It is a challenging word to say, so I suggest practicing it numerous times. So again, perineorrhaphy. And then salpingo, fallopian tube, which we discussed before. So salpingectomy, removal of the fallopian tubes. And then vulvo or epitheo, meaning vulva. So vulvopathy is a disease of the vulva, and then episiotomy is the incision of the vulva.
I'm going to be talking about the primary structures and functions of the female reproductive system. Starting with the internal organs, we have the ovaries, which are small oval-shaped glands that are located on either side of the uterus. The ovaries produce eggs and hormones. Next, we have the fallopian tubes, which may also be referred to as the oviducts or uterine tubes, and they are narrow tubes that attach to the upper part of the uterus and serve as a pathway for the ova to travel from the ovaries to the uterus. Next, we have the uterus, which is a hollow pear-shaped organ that is home to a developing fetus. The uterus is divided into two parts, the cervix, which is the lower part that opens up into the vagina, and the main body of the uterus called the corpus. And lastly, we have the vagina, which is a canal that joins the cervix to the outside of the body and is known as the birth canal. Now we'll move on to the external organs, which are collectively known as the vulva or genitalia. We have the mons pubis, which is a rounded mass of fatty tissue that lies over the joint of the pubic bone. Next, we have the labia majora, which enclose and protect the other external reproductive organs. We have the labia minora, which can have a variety of shapes and sizes and lie just inside the labia majora and surround the openings to the vagina and the urethra. Next, we have the clitoris, which is where the two labia minora meet and is a small sensitive protrusion that is comparable to the penis in males. And lastly, we have the Bartholin glands, which are glands located next to the vaginal opening on each side and produce a fluid secretion. I hope this helped you learn more about the primary structures and functions of the female reproductive system.